welcome to this week's episode of Your Powerful Legacy TV. My name is Kristina Oakley, in for 𝐷𝗫𝗍𝗫, and I'm joined in the studio by Kristina Ping Kepperling and Rob Kepperling. They are financial professionals with Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services. Kristina, my friend, how are you this week?
Wonderful. Great to be here with you.
Oh, I'm excited to be back with you. And Rob, what's going on in your world this week?
I'm having a fantastic week. Thank you for having us here.
Oh my gosh, well, it's always a joy to be with you. I'm excited to be back again. We love Cynthia. We're all dear friends and we miss her, but I'm so honored to have this opportunity to be with you as well.
It is wonderful. Thank you.
Well, I know you have been so busy with meeting with folks who've been calling from the television show, but I know you also get a lot of calls from your radio show and people connected with you through your podcast. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yes, we love Powerful Legacy Radio. It is so much fun. Oh my goodness gracious. And it's on several stations, but if you do not have time to listen at that specific time, we do have a podcast. So jump on to yourpowerfullegacy.com and then click down to media and hit podcast, and you can just select any of those subjects that you want to listen about. I know some of you have certain concerns that maybe others don't, so that's a great way to jump on there and get the information that you need.
That's a great way to pick and choose and literally take you all in your pocket on the go, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, and I also know that you are building quite the social media presence. So I know you and I have talked about this off camera. We're not the biggest social media fans, right? Like, we like to have some privacy, but it's important to be where people are, and I know that that's another powerful way that you connect with folks.
Yes, again, this is all about getting information out to people. It has nothing to do with the fun of social media, because I just don't think it's fun.
It's a real time suck, right? Those cat videos, they get me every time.
Oh my goodness. And well, next thing you know, I just feel like I've kind of wasted time on there. I do like to see my family and my friends, you know, see all of the new milestones coming along with everybody, but otherwise I don't really fool with it a whole lot. So having that social media presence, I think it's just very important that we're using it to the advantage of giving information as much as possible on every level, which is what we're after.
For sure. So how can people find you on social media? What handles are you all using on which platforms?
You should go to Powerful Legacy and you will pull this up, or Your Powerful Legacy, and you will pull up about anything that we have. LinkedIn, YouTube, YouTube channel
Instagram,
is
right?
Instagram, we're on Instagram. Facebook. If it wasn't for Facebook, my parents would disown me, I believe, because that's the one thing that they can keep track of all the kids and the grandkids. And they didn't even want to touch it 5 years ago. But now they have iPhones, iPads,
right.
And if something goes wrong, we get an hour to 2 hour conversation on how to fix what they've messed up.
Yes.
So.
Yes. I'll never forget the first time that my father-in-law, his dad, sent an emoji in text. That was so funny. I mean, just seeing that from, you know, a 70-something-year-old.
Right.
And the emojis, I'm not going to tell you what they were, but it was very funny.
I can only imagine.
He's learning the GIFs too, so it's fun.
Oh, it keeps it entertaining for sure.
Could you imagine if they had those when they were young? What kind of trouble they would get into?
Right,
Woo.
right. Well, I get to see my nieces this weekend, and they're always teaching me something new that I don't understand about social media. So we need both generations to help us out, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think the kids have it down more than we do.
They do, for sure. Well, we are going to be talking today about a subject that I think affects a lot of people, whether or not they're willing to admit it or not, and that is the fear of, what if I make a mistake when it comes to my financial future, to my retirement plan and strategy. And I know in my work as a financial educator, as I've traveled the country, I think a lot of people are afraid of making a mistake. Do you find that to be true as well when you're meeting with folks for the first time?
I think the worst thing that I've ever seen is people don't want to admit to the mistake.
Yes.
I think sometimes they know it and they're just trying to correct it without really admitting to it. That's probably what we see that's the most difficult. And one of the major mistakes that I see, probably number one, is going to be the timing of Social Security. People take it either too soon or too late. And I mean, there is no crystal ball. I do have one at my Lexington firm, but it's a paperweight, so it's not going to get us anywhere. And nobody knows what's going to happen, but as far as getting the timing down, everyone's situation is just totally different. And then for married people, how do we maximize that for the other spouse, and what's coming next? So that's probably the one that I see the most. And then also not having the conversation about risk tolerance. Just a small example here. You have $1 million in your retirement account. Let's say that you're following that 4% rule. So you're pulling out $40,000 a year minus the taxes. Well, let's just leave it at that $40,000. Let's say that your account is in a very volatile situation and that the market goes down by 50%. Are you willing to let the market dictate your income to where you would only get $20,000, or you would actually have to withdraw double the amount just to get the income that you actually needed? So not having that conversation about risk tolerance, that's probably another one of the major fails.
Oh my goodness, so much that we could unpack with this. I want to go back to when you were talking about Social Security, because the reality is that a lot of people think, oh, I can just call the Social Security Administration and they're going to tell me what I need to know. We all know that they can give you information, but they are not allowed to give you personalized advice based on your individual situation. And so I would be curious to hear, because you and I both know that there is that 1 year period where you're able to have a do-over. If you go ahead and claim Social Security and then you realize, oh shoot, I've messed up, I made a mistake and I want to get a do-over. Have you ever helped folks enact that?
So we did have a situation with that a few times, and it actually happened quite a bit during COVID because people lost their jobs. They were laid off because they could not work from home with their job.
Right.
And so the government is so generous. If you pay all that money back, they do let you go ahead and suspend that and then start it later. Well, a lot of people can't pay that back. That's not realistic. So we did have a couple that needed to, but we had one that had a sign-on bonus and they had only collected somewhere around the $6,000 mark. The sign-on bonus was 10. They paid back that Social Security and then they're going to resume it later because they did get another job.
Wow. So how soon is the right time to start having this Social Security conversation to help people avoid making this mistake? At what age do you recommend that people start planning out this Social Security claiming strategy?
Well, I think the closer you get to the minimum filing age is going to be very appropriate for you to look at. And you got to, I talked about what ifs on the last show. What if Social Security is not going to run out of money, but what if they dial it back? They're going to run low on money. They're set to run out technically in 2033. So if they dial that back by 25%, how much does that affect your livelihood moving forward and your ability to retire?
Right, because the stats show that currently over 40% of Americans are relying on Social Security to be over half of their retirement income. That's a significant number.
They just don't have the money in there.
Absolutely. So being able to plan that strategy on the front end and proactively help you avoid making that mistake, that's really, really key. Let's represent the second mistake that you were talking about. So about withdrawing, and I know you mentioned that 4% rule, which a lot of people have kind of been led to believe is the way to go.
Yes, and we talk about several different rules. The rule of 100, the rule of 25, the 4% rule. What are these? These are all just a rule of thumb.
Yes.
That's it. There is no one size fits most. And yes, while they are rules, if you break them, that's okay, because some people do need more or less. That's what that really amounts to. And the 4% rule, the reason why I'm going to pick on that one for just a moment and why it's so outdated is because where is inflation right now? I know that they're saying it's somewhere around that, 7 to 10%. I don't want to give any final numbers. That's not very fair. But I will tell you, people are telling me that they're seeing inflation well over 20% in their household.
Yes. Yep.
That's the reality of it, 20%. So if you're using the 4% rule, are you still cutting it with inflation? The answer is probably not.
Right. Yep. No, so much to take into consideration with what's going on today.
The world's changing at a rapid pace, far faster than we've ever seen it. So what are we going to do to keep up? And that's what we've got to do right now, is keep up and make sure that we're ahead of it.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned a lot of people, not only have they maybe made a mistake or are afraid of making a mistake, but then there's that added, they're afraid to admit that they've made a mistake. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I think that there can be, unfortunately, a lot of shame around this conversation of money. But what I love about what you all do is you create a safe place for people to be able to go places with them that maybe they haven't been able to feel safe or comfortable to go with anyone else when you're dealing with their livelihood and their money. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, I do know that right here in this room, folks, thank you for having us with you. I want you to just take a moment. I want you to raise your hand if you've ever made a financial mistake in your life. Okay, we all have.
Yes,
That's just how that works. So how you deal with that mistake and how you make sure to repair it and move on successfully in the future, that's what's going to determine the success for the financial strategy once there has been a mistake made.
Right.
And for a lot of people, I think underestimating their spending, but then over withdrawing, that's probably a huge mistake that I see in the beginning. And one thing that my clients really favor is that I never let them tell me exactly how much income they need the first year. I always overestimate it because I know they're going to spend more money. The first thing that happens, especially for my married couples, I'm just going to pick on them right here. when you retire, your honey-do list is going to go through the roof, and that's very expensive. So we know you're going to spend a little bit more money, and plus you have a little bit more freedom. And those first handful of years in retirement, we call those the go-go years.
Yes.
You're healthier, you can travel, enjoy family, friends, hobbies, whatever it may be. So you do naturally spend just a little bit more. Then we start to hit those slow go years, you know, maybe not quite as much travel, whatnot on there, but inflation still takes a toll.
Yes.
So you still have to make sure that you're hitting that mark as far as inflation is concerned. Then we eventually have those no-go years. For a lot of people, this is when long-term care rears its ugly face, and we need to be proactive about that as well.
Absolutely.
I was reading an article the other day that said, as you're about to retire, you need to make sure you have 3 different hobbies in play.
Okay.
And 2 of them have to do with your spouse, because you need to reform that connection. Instead of your work friends, you need to build that bond again with your spouse. And the other one is to do it on your own. That way, you have different things to do, and you're not sitting around and, like you alluded to, you're not sitting around the couch, not doing anything, and your health goes poor.
Right.
What would our hobbies be in retirement?
I was just wondering that. I was thinking, okay, you all work together, you spend a lot of time together, but I'm curious what the 𝐟𝐼𝐬𝐧𝐚𝐥 hobby together
I know
would
my
be.
hobby alone would be eating, and then my hobby together with my husband would be eating, so I just need one more.
Well, we do like to go antique shopping. We go around and do that. We golf together.
Okay.
And we do like to eat. I think all 3 hobbies for us, I think we would do together.
Well, I got to know your secrets because you all look so healthy too, so you get the best of both worlds, right?
Absolutely. Well, I think it's all keeping it within proportion, right?
It is, absolutely, yes. Well, I know you're committed to help folks staying on track for your retirement. And so if you're new to this show, one of the wonderful things that Kristina and Rob do is open up the opportunity for you to come in and meet with them for no cost, no charge, no obligation. So I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that opportunity before we go to commercial.
Yes, folks, we just talked about mistakes. If you need a do-over, or if you just need a second opinion to make sure that you've not made a mistake, if you feel like there might be something in there that needs to have a little bit of a tweaking, please give us a call. That QR code at the bottom of the screen, you know how to use this, just like you do with the restaurant menus, and just click on there with your phone and it'll pull you right up, get you into our calendar. You will have a human being call you the next business day. We're going to confirm the appointment, drop you an email, let you know what documents to bring to make the most of our time together. So please take advantage of that. There's not a limit. Take your time, give us a call. Let's sit down and have the conversation.
Kristina, Rob, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but that number to call is on the bottom of your screen, 877-893-5099. You're also welcome to take out your smartphone. Simply scan that QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few simple questions, and then a member of the Powerful Legacy team will reach out to you, as Kristina mentioned, to schedule your complimentary time to come in and get started on your own on-track retirement system. When we come back, we're going to be diving more deeply into the subject, specifically what are some questions and things you need to be thinking about as you consider working with a financial professional. More after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter, the one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Well, welcome back to your Powerful Legacy TV. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Kristina 𝐼𝐻𝐽 and Rob 𝐻𝐻𝐽 of Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services. And I love that you all have such a commitment to providing solid financial education for folks. And the reality is, we were talking in the first segment that a lot of people are scared to make a mistake and also maybe to admit that they have made mistakes in the past. And I love that you had us all raise our hand. You know, raise your hand if you've made a financial mistake. All of us, right? We've done it. And so we've been there, we know. But here's my question for you watching at home today. Are you concerned about taxes potentially going up? Are you concerned that the markets are going to continue to be very volatile? Are you worried about inflation today? So let's talk about a little about each of those subjects, because I think this feeds into that fear of making a mistake, right?
Yes.
So first of all, with taxes, do we think taxes are going to go down or up in the future?
Well, is our debt going up? The nation's debt going up, so it usually follows that. So chances are
it's been going up since the show started, right, Rob?
Right, in a very quick pace.
Yes.
So the chances are, yes, the taxes will go up, and I think they've already got a plan to a range that they're looking at from what we know. And will it hit either one of the marks? We don't know yet. But we do know that if debt's going up, then taxes have to go up because we have to pay for this somehow.
Absolutely. And so what are some ways that you are able to engage in that strategic tax planning to help folks prepare for that?
Well, we actually have something for you viewers out there if you're worried about taxes in retirement. And for most of you out there that have that pre-tax savings, like your 401k, 403bs, 457s, TSAs, TSPs, traditional IRAs, this is what I'm talking about for you. At the bottom of the screen, we do have what's called a retirement tax bill calculator. And give us just a moment, get this up. This is pretty amazing. So you just jump on there, click on it, or go to yourpowerfullegacy.com and then retirement tax bill calculator. So there it is, folks. And when you jump onto this calculator, all you're going to do, ever so simply, is enter in how much qualified money that you have. That means it's qualified to pay taxes. That's the best way to remember. So all your pre-tax funds in your household if you are married, and then of course all of yours if you're single. Enter in the age of the oldest spouse if married, yours if single, and then give us an estimate on the tax bracket. If you do not know, just click the default at 25%, and then put your name and your email address in there. You're not going to get a bunch of advertisements or anything silly. Give it about 10 minutes. It's going to give you an instant sum, and then it's about 10 minutes later, it'll give you an email from Retirement Tax Bill Calculator, and that's going to give you a detailed report. It's about 3 or 4 pages. It's a pretty big deal, letting you know what taxes should look like in retirement. We have powerful partners. We have a CPA that's a powerful partner, and we consult with them on a regular basis, making sure that we're getting the taxes right. Taxes are a huge concern for retirees. I know I'm worried about taxes. Gosh,
Yep.
You pay taxes on everything so many times. It's a really big deal.
Right. And you want to make sure that people aren't paying more than they need to pay, right? We want you to pay less to the IRS. That's the goal. Not tax evasion, right? But we want to avoid taxes whenever possible.
Hey, we should have a billboard for that, less to the IRS.
Right?
That would be great. Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, that will show you truly the retirement tax bill calculator there is going to show you what the potential tax bill could be if we do make some tax harvesting or tax favorable decisions. This is a great tool. I can't say enough how much just the more information that you have, the better you're going to feel getting into retirement. If you are already retired and you're worried about taxes because it's not part of your strategy, you need a second opinion, you don't want to quite come in and see us yet, just click on that retirement tax bill calculator. It's going to give you some information. That's all you're looking for.
Absolutely. What a great start and a great resource for folks. I'm glad you all have put that together.
It's our pleasure to have that provided for everybody.
Absolutely. Now, what about market volatility? Because I think that's another concern that folks are afraid. And a lot of people have made mistakes with their funds and their finances when they've seen the markets do crazy things and they make emotional-based decisions and maybe pull their money out of the market. So talk to me a little bit about how you help folks navigate market volatility.
Well, we watch people all the time. They go through and we talk about risk tolerance. What are you comfortable losing? Now, when you're younger, you're comfortable more than likely losing a little bit more because you have time to catch up. Once you get older, you need to adjust that. You need to be a little bit more conservative. Sometimes that mistake is when people don't adjust it as they get older and they get so far behind they cannot catch up.
Right. And what you're really speaking to is there's different phases of our retirement, right? A lot of us are used to putting that money away and saving and accumulating as much as possible, but this important shift comes where it's time to decumulate.
Yes, it does come. And I will say, ladies, you know that you are probably going to take a lot less risk than the gentlemen. That's why normally our occupations are not quite as dangerous, or, you know, we don't have activities that start off with, watch this, you know, those type of
Hold my beer, right?
Yeah, exactly, hold my beer, this is happening. Yes, exactly. So when I think about risk tolerance, I also think about the difference between men and women. And a lot of times I do see men that will take much more risk, which can also lead to much more reward, but it can also lead to a lot more loss. Now, we do have those financial financial phases that we like to talk about, Kristen. I know we've talked about this several times on the show. For you loyal listeners, thank you so much. We appreciate that. But let's go ahead and have that conversation again. You've got 3 financial phases in retirement. And for some of you, these phases are going to overlap. So to give it a real quick start, you're just going to have your accumulation phase or contribution. You're putting money inside of your accounts and just continuing to build your retirement. Then eventually it starts to jump into conservation, or we want to make sure that we're holding on, wealth preservation in those funds. And then eventually it's distribution or decumulation. I am the best at that because AKA it is spending money. Ask my husband. I'm really good at
Amazon
it.
proves it every day.
Oh, yes, and that's an important shift to make because things change as you near that retirement age.
Well, Kristen, we actually had a viewer for TV that dropped a question and said, who won the Amazon contest this last week? I'm always the winner.
I did not win, no. But the middle child's catching up.
Right? Oh,
Yes, he is.
He
Oh,
is.
it's awful. He buys the dumbest things. I don't even know what to say.
And it's just so easy. They make it too easy, right? It's just easy to click that button. Next thing you know, it's on its way.
We have a daughter-in-law now, and that one's holding her own.
Right?
She's on her own.
Yes,
Right.
That's pretty
absolutely.
good.
That's awesome.
They're expert consumers.
Well, I know that one of the things that you love doing for folks, not only when they come in to meet with you, again, for no cost, no charge, no obligation, to see if they're on track for retirement, but you also love to give them a complimentary copy of your book, The Retirement Train. So, Kristina, would you share a little more about that
Oh my
before
goodness.
commercial?
I love this book. I'm not just saying it because I'm the one who wrote it, but there is no other book like this out there. If you're having this angst about picking up a book about finances of any sort, this is not that way. If you've made a mistake before, you don't know what to do in a certain stage, this actually starts off in Kidville, takes you on all these stops along the retirement train, along that path. And if you just need to think about retirement, I'll give you a little hint. Skip to chapters 5 and 6, read it and move on. It won't take you 15 minutes. So it is a wonderful book. For those of you that are seeking information, we'd love to give this to you. It's not for sale. Information should be no charge. That's what you should expect from people. So we'd love to give this to you, no charge. Come in and see us.
Kristina, Rob, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but we encourage you, pick up the phone, call that number on the bottom of your screen, 877-893-5099, or you're welcome to scan that QR code as well. Both will get you connected in order to come in, have this complimentary meeting with Kristina and Rob and the team at Powerful Legacy. You'll also get that complimentary book of The Retirement Train. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some more viewer questions. Stay tuned to see if we answer yours this week.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you. You can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to your Powerful Legacy TV. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Kristina Ping-Kepperling and Rob Kepperling. And gosh, the time always flies with you guys. We have the best time, and
so fun.
we love getting to share this time with our viewers at home. And we're going to be answering some recent viewer questions. So the first one that came in, this is a great question. How do I know if what a financial professional recommends is actually best for me?
That's a really, really tough question. I know a lot of people that don't want to answer that. So if they don't want to answer it, they're probably not what's best for you. So let me give you the answer. You should feel like it is what's best for you. So feeling, that's probably the first part. Ask them how it's what's best for you. Ask them why it's what's best for you. Tell them to show you why and how it's what's best for you. That's very important. You need to understand. You should feel informed, educated, excited. I want you to feel excited about retirement, and just listen to your gut instinct. Your gut instinct's going to tell you what you need to know.
Great answer, Kristina. That is a tough question for sure. But yeah, I think this industry makes it tougher than it needs to be a lot of times, right?
Yes.
So Rob, I'm going to throw the next question to you. This person said, how do I know if I chose a financial professional that is in the wrong specialty?
Well, it depends on what phase of life you're in. If it's an accumulation specialist or a decumulation, it just depends on exactly what stage of life you're in. And your gut is going to tell you. If something's wrong, your gut's going to tell you almost 100% of the time. So if you get that feeling, listen to it.
And when folks ask you all what specialty you're in, how do you answer that question?
We help you preserve wealth and decumulate without running out of money.